Hello. Um, had a really good session with my therapist the other day. Um, yeah, figured I would expound. I find these easier. I find these easier to do the more I do them. I guess it's working, right? My last one I said it's important to, express my authentic self, and it was very very hard. I mean, I maybe made like five of these in like a 6 month period. Um, but making progress. Anyways, um, yeah, we were talking, and he asked me what I wanted to do with these, and kind of asked me to review or be a little more explicit about what my goal with this kind of is, or how in what way was it me expressing myself? What was the unique thing of me or message that I feel this was helping to express? The thing that I see that bothers me a lot is we don't have enough words. Not words, we don't have enough languages to describe the world now. We argue a lot. What I mean by that is that we're very disconnected because we don't have a means. We're not talking on the same kind of wavelength. And it's not just that. I think it's deeper than that. I think it's that we no longer talk to each other on a phone. We talk to each other only with loudspeakers, and we don't know we're doing it. I think a lot of people don't know how to talk to each other without arguing, right? And that is a language. That is a way of speaking that you have to learn. You have to foster. You have to emotionally do it. It's a different way that you talk to your son, your mentee, your brother, your uncle, and your dad, or your teacher, your mother. You talk to these people with a different, not only with different words, but with different intentions and a different emotional set. Um, we don't really think about that. And because of that, and because we all end up kind of speaking in these kind of adversarial ways, all of our relationships have these unspoken adversarial kind of ultimatums. It's very hard for us to understand and get close to each other, and not just between strangers, mind you. I mean, between people we want to get to know, people we want to get close to. We are so disconnected from them, uh, not only because of the unrealistic ideas that social media gives us. Yes, that affects us and it gets in our brain another way, right? But we also don't have a way to fill in the space if you took that away. There is a lot of content out there, and I don't have this unrealistic idea that we can or should monitor the public space. But we should acknowledge that the public space is going to be filled with the kind of messages that can generate money and can generate returns for people. That's just the fact. So part of what we can do is we can add our message to that, which is what I want to do with this. The other thing we have to recognize, though, is it's not enough to just point at it. It's not enough, and I don't mean socially for other people, I mean just for ourselves. It's not enough to just point at it and say, oh, well, they're doing this to me. Well, you have to fill your own vacuum. If all of these messages were to go away, you wouldn't be better tomorrow. You've been seated, right? You have nothing else. We're not practiced in anything else unless we have deliberately sought out and chosen to be. We're not practicing anything else to fill the gap, to fill that void if it all were to go away. And we have to do that. I think the other thing too we have to take responsibility for is our behavior, right? We presently simply take the adversarial messaging, the other person doesn't count kind of messaging from these larger institutions, right? You know, your government tells you to obey, your teachers and all that sort of stuff. A lot of this is necessary. You can't grow up as a healthy child and a healthy human being without first obeying authority and, what other people say in culture. So that's not inherently bad or wrong, but you're supposed to grow past it, right? And we are able to be freed from it, right? But if you're a grown adult, you know, and I'll be generous, you're 30 or 40 plus, because I'm not gonna punch down people younger than me. I'm no genius. I didn't grow up perfect. we can all as individuals take better account of when we are propagating that adversarial kind of way of being that we learn from the larger institutions, right? We don't just have to pass it. For example, life is hard, man. And everybody gets to say that life is hard. And I'm going to talk about my life. It's amazing to me how much resources and time I have to spend for the things that are hard for me. Am I suffering relative to the world? Hell no. But there are things that I struggle with. I've had economic success, I've had professional success, I'm financially okay. But life is not only achievement in a single category. I've struggled with relationships all my life, every aspect of them, getting in them, maintaining them, working on being in relationships with people and fostering and bettering myself to better be in relationships with people. It's something that has taken a significant part of my conscious effort all of my life. It's been no less than a second full-time job for me with all of the time and energy commitments I've done to just kind of get to this point, you know, and I'm still 43 and unmarried. I acknowledge it for what it is without feeling too much of a way about it, and I'm able to share it. I guess what I'm pointing out is life isn't easy. How come all of your success over here hasn't spilled over? Because life isn't easy, right? It doesn't. I think people should be able to acknowledge that life is hard, right? Like we shouldn't be censoring and gatekeeping other people's expression, and you don't do that without consequence. We can't live in this scorched earth environment where you can't express what your subjective experience is and expect that the public that we live within is going to be amenable and compatible with a healthy internal self. It doesn't make fucking sense, right? Going from a -1 where you might be injured, helping people who are suffering is a different skill from going from 0 to +1. Surviving is different from thriving. Everyone should be able to discuss that too. And we spend so much time trying to find somebody who's relatively worse off to discount another person's ability to simply acknowledge the space that they take up. It is not just wrong because I think so. You can see it in the world, right? You can't have a caring aggregate while at the same time telling individuals you don't fucking count. So look, I mean, like how I really, if we're being really real about it, I want to say if you don't live in a rehab or long-term care facility, you don't get to tell other people that their difficulties and their perspectives don't count. You don't have to agree with them, right? You don't have to buy them. They might be bullshit and they might be unserious about them. And I say that not to tell those people to shut the fuck up. I'm saying it to win the required oxygen for other people to exist. Stop talking about people need to help people, but then write them out of the fucking equation. It doesn't make sense. Right? It just doesn't make any sense. That's something that is important to me. So maybe sometimes you can't always solve a problem, but it is important to me to either encourage people to count all of the members and including all the members in a conversation and all of their mass and then see where the boat lies. Either encourage them to do that or to set up the conditions by simply adding to the conversation for that to happen. And I think that's all for now.